uno.
Mesdames et messieurs, je vous dis bon après-midi, bonsoir de bienvenue. Yo pour Croix Rouge, ma horizon 4, à Boboté, à Djambe, Trashvi. Oh ben, on dit que c'est long qui a personne dans rien. Merci pour votre contribution et puis merci pour votre invitation. À Bariago, Amani Akoja, Jumbo. Ude no muzo ni wanje madobo to dry adwadi wapo mo jimi andre. Oh man, it feels great to be back home. It feels great to be back on the radio. And folks, I'm telling you, we're live on www.thebridgeradioafrica.com, and tonight a very special edition of the program, Ashford Garley Live, where Henry P. Costa FC takes on George M. Weah Gangsters Paradise in a friendly political soccer game. And both teams are playing away from home. Both teams are playing in Freetown, Sierra Leone. And the librarian will say no cheating, no parting, because you are on the neutral ground now. And folks, do your job. I'm going to do my job tonight. And I'm watching because as you share the video, it's going to give me that notification. And because your friends are not my friends. So we've got some interesting players tonight on the field of play. And I want you to grab something to drink, invite a few friends as we get ready for this all-important friendly political match between Henry P. Costa FC and George M. Weah Gangsters Paradise at the Saka Stevens Stadium in Freetown, Sierra Leone tonight. Folks, I'm telling you, folks are flying from all over. Folks are coming from Europe. Liberians are coming from everywhere, all parts of the world, just to see this very important political soccer game tonight. Something that you don't want to miss. And I don't blame some of you people who got a notification at a very late hour. You can watch the game from your living room via satellite, and some of you who already have season ticket in VIP, I know you're already here, and this game will be quite interesting tonight. Again, you can enjoy this game by yourself, invite a few friends, grab something to drink, get the popcorn ready, because I'm telling you, it's not going to be easy tonight. You are going to hear the names of players that you never heard before, first of its kind, on the field of play today in Freetown, Sierra Leone, from the Saka Stevens Stadium. And folks, we've got lots of goodies in store for you. Good news for Henry P. Costa's FC, because they are taking on one of the best teams in Liberia, George M. Weah Gangster Paradise. This is not an easy team. And folks, you hear players then like Huawei. You hear players like border wide open. You hear players named like $20 to cross the border because we are not getting paid from George Weah. So when you give me $20, you can cross the border now. These are all players that you're going to hear tonight. In Freetown, Sierra Leone, folks, I'm telling you, people are suffering. You have 28 to 47 entry and exit points in Liberia, where you can leave the country and nobody can find out until you're out of the country. No security in the country. We are going to bring that to you tonight. Again, don't be selfish. This game is for everybody. Those who are not up yet, wake them up. Invite them. Share the video. Invite them to the game. In the meantime, I'm going to take a trip now around VIP to see who we have in VIP tonight. And the supporters for Henry P. Costa FC are those beautiful daughters, the Hampson sons who find themselves in the diaspora, those who work hard and say, you know what, Henry, your station is closed down. You don't have the money to do what you have to do, but we are going to do the GoFundMe just to help you out. And that's what they are saying tonight. And then for George M. We against the Paradise, the cheering squad are the Sunshine Girls. You know that women are asking for job. In return, George, we are as long as you can shake from the waist below and lay on your back, we will play, then I give you job. So those are the supporters of George Manu We Against the Paradise tonight. They are called Sunshine Girls. And folks, I'm telling you, you'll be shocked at some of the names you hear tonight as it relates to the Sunshine Girls. But the supporters, the very hardworking female supporters of Henry P. Costa FC are your hardworking sisters who get up, do the 12-hour shift, do 14, 15-hour shift, and they say, you know what? Our country is not headed in the right direction. And this is what we're going to do for our country. But in the meantime, we're going to visit Bush House, London, the BBC. And just before we do that, let's see if we can make our way around in the VIP session and do some recognition of a few folks here on the field of play tonight. Annie Boyd is in the field. VIP. Call Cadiz Slaw. VIP, that's where she's eating that ice cream right now. Mr. Raymond Clark is in VIP. Melvin Datu Howard is also in VIP tonight. I see Edwina Tracy Gordon. She's in VIP as well. Man, VIP is all crowded tonight though. So, but those who have the season ticket already got the seat, so they don't have to worry. Lama Shepherd, the man, the season ticket holder. I don't worry. I'm not worried about him. JD Slanger is also here. Alberta Dauber is here as well. She's as a matter of fact, Alberta is one of the stone female supporters of Henry P. Costa FC. And this lady came all the way from the United States. They got the cool air going, the popcorn going for Henry P. Costa as he get ready for this all-important political soccer game. And then at halftime, you will see something that you've never seen before. There will be a foot race, La Bremer say running race. Running race between Joshua and Henry Costa. You know that ball can run. Joshua used to run before, but we're going to put him to test whether he still has the skills to run. So there'll be a running race tonight between Henry Costa and George Weah at halftime. Who do you think going to win the running race? Big question. Let's find out. Very shortly, we're going to bring you the lineups for both countries. Henry P. Costa FC and George M. Weah against the Paradise. Brace yourselves.
Into neighboring Sierra Leone. The political activist Henry Costa, who's been asking tough questions of President George Weah, has been detained in Freetown. He was arrested when he tried to board a plane there to fly to America. Mr. Costa has been behind a series of public protests in Monrovia, in which he's demanded that the Liberian president should answer to charges of high-level corruption. His associates say they fear that this is an attempt to illegally return him to Liberia. Well, a group of lawyers in Sierra Leone have taken up his case. I spoke with one of them, Abdul Koroma.
There is an allegation that he has committed fraudulent activities, that he forged his emergency travel certificate from Accra to Monrovia. And therefore, he should not leave. He has some questions to answer in Monrovia. That is the only reason to get.
Mr. Costa is a Liberian citizen, and one would wonder why he would need and why he would have to falsify any document to go to his own country of origin.
That is the argument we have. According to Mr. Costa's brother, he said Mr. Costa had already sent his passport for Schengen visa. And therefore, because he's an ECOWAS citizen, he's allowed to travel with an emergency certificate. The allegation is that he forged those documents. So, have
you challenged the Sierra Leonean government on the grounds that they are using for detaining Mr. Costa?
Yes, I have challenged them on the grounds that the detention itself is controversial and it's illegal. And then, in fact, they should not attempt to return him back to Monrovia because, according to Mr. Costa, his life will be in imminent danger. I have also spoken with the authorities and told them our obligation under international law, especially the respect of the principle of non-refoulement, that we should not send someone to a country where he thinks his life will be in imminent danger.
And what response have you had from the government of Sierra Leone?
Well, the response has been very positive. I mean, they said, no, as at this moment, they are going to assess his case. They're not going to return him to Liberia immediately because there are some other issues that have emerged, those issues were not disclosed. So we are in constant communication with them. However, I've not been able to communicate with my client, but I've been able to speak with the brother because his phone was off because he posted on Facebook that he has been treated nicely. Since then, we've not been able to talk to him.
Do you know where Henry Costa is being held in Freetown and by who?
No, we don't know. The only information we have is that he was arrested at Lunge International Airport by the immigration authorities. And we do not know where he is at the moment.
Earlier, the information coming out was that he could be extradited to Liberia. Does Sierra Leone have an extradition treaty with Liberia at all?
Well, they have some international agreement, the Mano River Agreement. I've not been able to find out whether they have an extradition treaty, but however, we have an extradition law in Sierra Leone which requires the consent of the Attorney General. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as my knowledge goes, that has not been sought.
And legally, could people like yourself get the courts to tell the government of Sierra Leone to release Henry Costa?
Yeah, of course, that is the next step we will take if they do not release him immediately, because he has a right to seek legal redress, and there is a provision under our laws that as at this time his life will be in imminent danger should they extradite him back to Monrovia. That is the next step we're contemplating. Have you tried to speak to Mr. Henry Costa or to see him, and what has been the response of the government of Sierra Leone? Right now, they said that they have the obligation to keep him safe, and therefore we should wait he is safe, that nothing will happen to him. I had my colleague traveled to Lunge to see him, but unfortunately, because I'm in Freetown, we were told that he was on his way to Freetown. So we are waiting for him in Freetown as we speak. We're expecting him any moment from now. So the next thing, I don't know whether they will give me the opportunity to see him, but I'm hopeful that if he comes to Freetown, definitely we'll try to speak with him. The case of the Liberian political activist Henry Costa, and that was the Sierra Leonean lawyer acting on his behalf, Abdul Kuruma, speaking to me from Freetown. Just before we came on air, I asked Sierra Leone's information minister, Mohamed Soare, to explain what's going on.
Being taken into police custody for questioning. The immigration department here had a call from their counterpart in Liberia, so the police needed to cross-check a few things. But one thing is clear, Henry is in open detention. He is enjoying the full gamut of his human rights. We are a sovereign democracy. We don't take instructions from other people. I'd like to assure that Henry's human rights and basic freedoms will be respected. In fact, he's just posted something on Facebook that he's been very well treated. He's not being coerced, he's very well respected, even his confinement. So as a government, we are doing everything humanly possible to ensure that we don't fiddle with his basic rights and fundamental freedoms.
His supporters are accusing the Sierra Leone government of actually working in cahoots with the Liberian government in detaining him. Do you deny that?
No, we definitely do. We just want to ensure that we fulfill our righteousness. He himself can attest to that. He's been very well treated with dignity and all his rights respected. We cannot take dictation from any other government. We are a democracy. We value that. Our people have struggled for far too long for democracy, and this government is repeated for its very strong democratic credentials. So we will not do anything untoward. As soon as we are going through the processes, we'll do the needful.
Now, this is a man who has organized a series of demonstrations and protests in Liberia, demanding accountability, good governance, demanding that President George Weah answer to accusations of corruption. The Sierra Leone government is a government that says it stands by those principles of democracy, as you are saying here, that you are a government that campaigns against corruption. But to people in Liberia who may be supporting Henry Costa, when you now hold him close to 24 hours, when he was trying to just use Sierra Leone's airport to fly away, it sounds as if you are going against all those principles.
We remain very strong on those principles. In fact, those are the hallmarks of our administration, democratic accountability. I will only say to those Liberians thinking that way to continue to be glued to the radio, we are doing what we need to do now, and pretty soon we will do the needful without jeopardizing and compromising our sterling credentials as a democratic, freedom-loving, and accountable administration.
But do you agree that it looks very suspicious that the Liberian government will ask you to detain this man when it's not even a secret that he has been a very open opponent of President George Weah?
Well, so that's why I'm saying we are a sovereign democracy. At the appropriate time, we'll do what is right by our constitution, what the values that Sierra Leone and this administration represents. We will not keep Mr. Costa any longer than necessary intention. We'll make sure that happens.
And how long is that?
That will be pretty soon. Pretty soon.
That was the meeting.
And folks, I'm telling you, you just heard from the information minister of Sierra Leone, and earlier you heard the lawyers belonging to Henry Costa. What you're going to hear next now is the information minister of the Republic of Liberia. Again, brace yourselves, grab something to drink. Folks, this game is very interesting tonight, where the Henry P. Costa FC takes on George M. Weah against the Paradise. You don't want to miss this one. Invite a few friends and let's have a ball tonight. You see the kind of thing that's happening? That's why I don't like the people to go around between gate 1 and gate 14. So that's sedition in there. Now I'm looking for the information minister, something that I can't find it. The other Zoko there, the Sabo unit, and other there. And folks, we have to be very careful on between gate 1 and gate 14. If you don't want trouble because they're bringing all kind of stakes, then the guy with nail on it to start joking people. They found their way. Thank God we're playing the game in Freetown because we are going to be playing the game at the SKD Sports Complex. Oh my God. The Sakamo tree and everything are going to be on fire today. But before then, I think we're going to have to find the national anthem for both teams before we begin this game. I mean, oh man, security is tight. Security is tight. You think the guy securing Liberia? Not securing Liberia. You see the guy there 48 to 28 opening points where you can enter Liberia and come outside. But in Freetown, it's tight tonight. And in Freetown, they don't play. They said they're not taking instruction from anybody. There's a sovereign nation, and folks, I'm telling you, let's get ready. And ready, but now we want to see if we can find the national anthem for these two countries.
Et encore oui, votre humble serviteur, Auguste Mamele. Oh, petit toutou,
La famille voyage chérie, tu m'as troublé, oh, oh.
And there's a national anthem for Henry P. Costa FC, folks. I'm telling you, we're trying to find a national anthem for the Republic of George M. We against the Paradise. Y'all said that they cannot use it today. Ha, yeah. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, with time being fast spent, we have to give you the lineups for both teams. But in the meantime, we want to visit VIP and see who we have on the field tonight. Government Lucky Hut is in VIP as always. Rakin is also here in VIP. And folk, I see Mr. Sekou Kernet is in VIP as well. David Johnson, Rosalind Dix, as always, is here a preferable seater in VIP. Folks, I'm telling you, we see Mrs. Beatrice Smith is in VIP. Rosalind Dix is in VIP. Cynthia Koppel Kabat is here. And I see Mr. Joseph Che. I also see the Makina Pico in VIP tonight. And folks, I need some predictions. Who do you think going to win the game tonight? And I also see the Abraham Mastercourt. I see the Lisa L. Grand, Emmanuel Q. Smith, Mrs. Margaret Allen is also yet in VIP. And I see the, Abebo Arizona Yala is in VIP. The D-Way Carter Johnson is also in VIP. And folks, we're getting signal now to bring you the lineups for both countries. I see Maxwell McCall Jr. is in VIP as well. Cassandra Bala is also in VIP. Washington S. Dolo is in VIP as well. Folks, I'm telling you, if you haven't seen anything before, this is the first of its kind of soccer you're going to see tonight. Mr. Abraham Bobley. Again, don't be selfish. Invite a few friends so that we can together have a ball tonight. Vic Boyd, Vic Star is here in VIP as well. I see George N. Morris is also in VIP. And I see D. Wayne Carter again. That the best song of the year. Sandy Dubbard. I see the Evelyn Sia Sandy. It's also yet in VIP. Mrs. Garley is living on VIP because they told her to come in and get ready in her jersey as we bring you the lineup. Mr. James Ratto is yet in VIP as well. And folks, with that said, Sator, Sam TK, and the rest of the crew, folks, Farisa Williams. I also see the Parrot Adjuvant, Celia Adjuvant, Josepha Shaw Thomas. It's also in VIP. And folks, let us take to the lineup first. Landsman number 1 is Ecuadors. Landsman number 2 is the United Nations. The chief referee is European Union. The match commissioner is the United States of America. You see, this is an international game, so you can't have any local people officiating the game. You can't have the very corrupt Senate we have. The very corrupt House of Representatives we have. With this game being a very high-profile game and an international game, you can't have anybody local to do the commentary or to do the officiating. But again, nobody does it better than the Giant. That's what the government doing. Even the guy commented us in Sierra Leone, but they said only the man knows how to come into the game. Stefan Gaba is here, Touchman and Sharif. So we got the United Nations, we got the European Union, and we got Ecuador as the officials, And then the Marsh Commissioner is the United States of America. They are watching with equal eye. Folks, I'm telling you. Let us not give you the lineups for both countries. Henry P. Costa FC and the cheerleader and the supporters are these hard-working girls, women, husbands, wives who go and do 12 hours, do 15, 16 hours. At the end of the day, they save for the money, open up GoFundMe to help Henry Costa. I'm told right now they got GoFundMe going so that they can help facilitate his travel back to the United States of America and go back to school and put this behind him. And people are now saying he ran away. But I'm going to give you a few facts yet. And after I've given you those facts, you should think about it. You should think about it, process it, and come back to me. Charles Taylor, before he became president, it was alleged that he stole $1 million as Director General of the GSA, fled the country. Charles Taylor went to jail. He broke jail, came back in the country as a rebel leader. Charles Taylor eventually became president of Liberia. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf fled the country. She was allegedly raped, tortured. She managed to leave the country, went back, organized group, brought war in the country. 250,000 people got killed. Ellen Johnson eventually became president of Liberia. George Opomani Weah played professional soccer. He became Africa's best, became world best, European best, FIFA best, you name it. He fled the country and said, I will never return to Liberia as long as Charles Taylor is president. George Weah was out of the country until Charles Taylor left to go seek different environment in London. George Weah resurfaced. Today, George Weah is the president of Liberia. The bold people say he who fights and leaves will have the opportunity to come back one day and continue to fight. Today, Henry Petro Costa leaves Liberia. He's out of the country. He's headed to the United States of America. Save the show. Costa will return not as talk show host. Costa will return not as political activist. Costa will return not as political commentator. Costa has age on his side. He's 37 years old. He has a lot of years ahead of him to prepare himself. One of the best things that Costa has done for himself, he did something that most of us cannot do. Even with guns at our throat, with death threats, he hopped on the plane, went to Liberia. Even when people said, don't come, he said, no, I am going there. He stood the test of time. He says sometimes you can claim to be not a good listener, but when certain people talk to you, you listen to them. And when I call Kim and said, my man, we know that you don't listen most of the time. You like to do what you love to do, but this one is serious. They are trying to assassinate you. They are trying to kill you. These people are evil. These people are wicked. Try and leave this country. That's all he needed to hear. And the same government officials, the same people who are in bed with George Weah, facilitated the travel of Henry Costa to leave Liberia. Today, Henry Costa is sound and safe. Most of you, including me, we didn't sleep last night. We didn't know what things were going to be look like. But today, we can get a breathing room. And Henry Petro Costa is safe today. So again, Charles Taylor fled the country, came back to Liberia. He became president of Liberia. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf fled the country, returned to Liberia, became president of Liberia. George Oponweah fled the country, returned to Liberia, became president of Liberia. Do not overlook anything. When Henry Petro Costa returns to Liberia, he's not coming as a radio talk show host. He's not coming as a political commentator. He's not coming as a political activist. There's something big coming for this young man. And we here in the diaspora, we can disagree all we want. The administration of George Weah's administration are not good. The people are not good people. Do not side with them. When Henry Costa does something wrong, please do not openly criticize him. Pick up the phone, call him. Because when you come in the public and try to make the man look back in the presence of the wicked people that George Weah runs, the gangster paradise, then you want to destroy ourselves. We need to learn how to hold together. We can disagree, we can slap his butt in the corner, but when he come in the public, they're not giving that support. It's like you married, you are home. You and your wife making flower. Your wife will call you all kind of name in the house. But when you dress and go out, and anybody say friend to you, your wife will be the first in line to protect you. Just as you will be the first in line to protect your wife. Henry Costa is our brother. He's our friend. He's our son. We need to protect this young man. He means well for Liberia. He means well for Liberia. And Henry Costa is a better human being than George Weah. You can put it in a bowl, do it any way you want it. Henry Petro Costa is a better human being than Liberia. He loves Liberia. George Weah claims to love Liberia, but he doesn't love Liberia. George Weah loves his pocket. He loves himself. That's why he's supporting other nationals and not Liberians. He's giving our money to foreigners and not Liberians. You can say all you want. I've had my disagreement with Henry Costa, but this time around, we have to hold together. He's our brother. He will not be perfect in everything he does, but we cannot expose it in the public for the wicked people to attack him. Call him on the side and have a talk with him. With that said, folks, I will now bring you the lineup for both teams. For Henry P. Costa FC, Stephen A. Johnson II, Jeremiah Wapo, Yeke Koluba, Obe, Sekou Kenen, Eloise Salif Garley. Communication, accountability, pay as you go. Sando Johnson, aka Iso, Darius DeLore, Mo Ali, Henry Costa himself, Oscar Cooper, Boyka Jaliba, the Reverend Sanji Skepter, Sunsham Stepchild, Desperation, Compromise, Prophet Key, Ben Senvi, Collateral Damage, Mobo Samula, Monopaka Tomoe, Dialogue, Negotiation, Things Fall Apart, Lekoto, Feet Help the Body, Abandonment. George Weah against the Paradise. Border wide open. $20 to cross the border. Wicked president, 2 men. 5 years imprisonment. Now the kind of thing they want to get Henry Costa, they want to send him for the jail 5 years. Death squad. Insurrection. NSA. Immigration. Possible impeachment. Viral, aka virus. The stupid teachers can call viral virus. Then we have drugs abuse, prostitution, alcoholism, womanizer, critical thinker, dictatorship, biological president, stupid decisions, Ebola, Boyo, hard time, unemployment, WPO, provocation, suppression. Then we also have police brutality, harassment, hypocrisy, death squad, George, we have this with Nathan McGill. He said the death squad didn't do the job. Then we have statutory rapist. We have murder, witch hunt, Gorilla foster child, aka Bill Twawe, nepotism, abuse of power, false promises, Molba Molu, aka Chechipule, illegal arrests, wasteful spending, corruption, Akaras Gray, aka Opion King Kong, selective justice, human rights abuse, money laundering, excessive force, George Weah, aka Sunshine, aka Chanelon, aka Plastic Giant, Joy Howard Tiller, race car in the parking lot, D-Hole cover hole, Sabu unit. Then we got the Samuel Toy, aka Samuel Toy, aka what the name they say? Lepose Baboon. Another name for Samuel Toy is aka Natural Tada. Then we have the Central Bank of Liberia. And folks, brace yourself. At the Saka Stevens Sports Stadium in Freetown, Sierra Leone. The ball is now in the middle of the field. You have the United Nations, the ECOWAS, European Union, and the Mouse Commissioner is the United States of America, the White House. The ball is now there now, and around the field between gate 1 and gate 14. At the folks from the George Weah against the Paradise, and they are there with sticks and iron. And the good thing is, they are not going to tolerate fighting on the field and trouble. And this is not Liberia, so they have to be respectable of the international laws around here. No trouble, because any attempt to disturb the field, they will take them out of the field. Both teams are senior, so anything can start again. Oluju Greer. The ball comes to Akaras Gray. Akaras Gray, aka Opion King Kong. Opion King Kong looks around to border wide open. Border wide open. $20 to cross the border because George Weah can't pay us. We're working for free. The border security are saying, so you get $10 or $20, Canada will cross you for free. $20 you have to cross the border now. 48 to 28 entrances coming in and going out. The country is not safe. They can kill you in Liberia, not to account of it. They're breaking drugs and things in the country. Border wide open, beast woman. Puts up a team, the ball comes to corruption, back to border wide open. The ball comes to George Weah. George Weah to selective justice. Selective justice back to George Weah. Human rights abuse. Onto money laundering. The ball comes to excessive force. Excessive for the George Weah. Onto Gorilla stepchild. Gorilla stepchild beast woman. Puts up the team, the ball comes to Tada Pape. That's Lepose Baboon. aka Samuel 12, level say Baboon beast woman puts on the team, the ball on the D-Hole cover hole. D-Hole cover to George Weah. George Weah to excessive force. Excessive force looks around back to George Weah. George Weah to Akaras Gray, aka Opion King Kong, onto alcoholism. Alcoholism beast woman puts on the team. The ball has been intercepted now by Henry Costa. Costa looks around the beast woman. Puts on the team. The ball comes to Momo Samula. Momo Samula to Motherfucker Domoy. Motherfucker Domoy beast on the critical thinker. Critical back to Momo Samula onto Dialogue beats woman to negotiation onto Bradbury. Bradbury doesn't miss it. The ball comes down to Boyka Jaliba. Boyka Jaliba to Oscar Cooper onto Henry Costa to Mo Ali. Mo Ali to Darius Dillon back to Mo Ali to Henry Costa. The goal merchant, the no nonsense player. The ball who doesn't give a damn. Henry Costa to accountability. Accountability to pay as you go back to accountability. Accountability to Obey onto Yeke Koluba. Yeke Koluba to Henry Costa. He's moving deep in the heart of the field. Ladies and gentlemen, the ball can run. Henry Costa beats woman, beats the second to Yeke Koluba. Yeke Koluba back to Henry Costa. He's moving. This could be trouble. Henry Costa is moving. Ladies and gentlemen, goal number one for Henry P. Costa FC. Goal number one for Henry P. Costa FC. First goal coming in just 15 minutes of the start of the game. Folks, I'm telling you, play-by-play description this afternoon at the Saka Stevens Stadium in Freetown, Sierra Leone. One goal to Henry P. Costa FC and nothing to George M. Weah against the Paradise. The game has come to a standstill, folks. I'm telling you. The game has come to a momentary standstill, and I see Mr. Bo Yonde. Bo Yonde, good afternoon. Welcome to the game.
Thank you very much. I'm here. I thought it was, that was a very good opening, and I'm here ready for the game. look forward to a very good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the voice of Bo Yonde making his presence known from our cubicle, our studio cubicle VIP here in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Goal kick out the water to the gangster parade out there headed by George Weah. You know, after staying 20 years in Europe and America, we're in Freetown here. We thought Liberia hot. Yeah, I mean, the studio's so hot. Yeah, air condition going off. You know, we ain't used to the kind of heat. Back to the field to play. The ball comes to Money Lottering. Money Lottering beats one, puts it to the team. The ball comes to D-Ho cover hold. D-Ho cover hold to Selected Justice. Selected Justice to Akaras Moses Gray. Akaras Moses Gray to Opion King Kong. Opion King Kong beats one to Corruption. Corruption back to Wasteful Spending. Wasteful Spending to Illegal Arrest. The ball comes to Border Wide Open. Border Wide Open beats one, puts it to the team. $20 to cross the border. $20 to cross the border. George, I can't pay. Give out $20 you cross the border. Then you see the cheering squad. You see the cheering squad from Gangster Paradise and the cheering squad from Henry P. Costa FC. The cheering squad from Gangster Paradise, I want Costa Block. And then the cheering squad from Costa FC said, you can't get it. I want Costa Block. You can't get it. I want Costa Block. You can't get it. They cannot eat it today. Josh, we have one Costa Block. But Henry Costa get it and say, you can't get it. I want Costa Block. You can't get it. I want Costa Block. You can't get it. The ball comes to Human Right. Human Right to Selected Justice. Selected Justice beats one, puts to the team. The ball comes to Corruption. Corruption to Wasteful Spending onto George Weah. George Weah to Illegal Arrest. Back to George Weah. George Weah to False Promises. False Promises back to George Weah. George Weah to Abuse of Power. Abuse of Power back to George Weah. George Weah to Nepotism. Nepotism back to George Weah. George Weah to Witch Hunt. Witch Hunt back to George Weah. George Weah to Death Squad. Death Squad back to George Weah. George Weah to Murder. Murder back to George Weah. I thought this guy was once peace ambassador of Liberia. He's going after people now because of disagreement. When Jones Blamo, James Camara, and then help you to leave the country. Today you are going after the same people. You're going after Liberians. For reason best known to yourself. George Weah, the once powerful peace ambassador, the lover boy of Liberia. What are you doing to yourself? Are you the same George you have the 90s and the 80s? Why change? What happened, George? George, what happened? Henry Costa is a Liberian. You have people from Nigeria that are using Liberian passport. People are selling Liberian diplomatic passport for $3,500 to Nigerians. If you're a Liberian, you don't have to be in the government to get diplomatic passport for $1,500. James Emmanuel Porter, the Assistant Minister for Logistics at the Ministry of State, is selling Liberian passport. Henry Pedro Costa is a Liberian for God's sake. The man is returning to his own country, and you want to kill this boy because he disagrees with you. Hey, George Weah, how can you do this? Do you know how the international community is seeing you now? George Weah, George Money Weah. Back to the field of play. The ball comes to hard time. Hard time to corruption. Corruption, Weah-Bola. Weah-Bola to hard time again. Hard time to plea payment way. Plea payment way to Boyo. Boyo to Weah-Bola onto Stupedition. Stupedition looks around to dictatorship. Dictatorship instrument to nation of protest. Nation of protest to critical thinker. Critical thinker to womanizer. Womanizer to alcoholism. Alcoholism now. Beast one put the thing back in the prostitution. Prostitution to abuse of power onto drugs abuse. He moving deep behind the field. The ball have been intercepted by Henry Costa. Abusing our sisters. And folks, the game has come to a standstill. The game has come to a momentary standstill. We are getting a call here from the VIP box. I don't know what's happening. One of the players is down on the field, and let's go to the line and see what's going on.
Hello.
Hello. Mr. Senvi, the Gangster Paradise illegally hate you, and I see you happy on the field. What's really going on?
Yeah, they try to take me out of the game. But we just, you can hear me, I'm breathing right now. They try to take me out of the game. So I took a little break. I want the world to know that we are committed. We are committed. I will be going back on the field. In about 5 minutes. I just wanted you to know that since they want intentionally help me, that on the halftime, I will be calling in. Just we'll be discussing some issues on the halftime. But
I saw you
already one goal up.
I saw you in a little conversation with the captain, Henry Costa, and you were asking, and you were also telling Henry, you came to Liberia with no bad intention. All you want to see happen for Liberia is to see the government move forward. There's no hate in you for George Weah, but why is George Weah going after Henry Costa? And with the fact that you were close to Henry and you both are on the field right now in Freetown, you care to tell the world why is George Weah going after Henry Costa?
You know, there is a problem. You know, I always said there is a situation where people have a complex. There's a complex going on right now with President Weah. President Weah needs to understand that he is president of Liberia, not president of a small group of people. Henry happens to be the chairman of the COP. What we are doing is just holding his government accountable. You know, there's no ill intention. We want to make sure. In fact, I think we are more president. We are friends than we are enemies, because we are outlining the things that he needs to fix in the country. So it is, you know, it's nothing be like you said. You saw me in a small huddle with him. I was just telling him that he just needs to, you know, we need to start to certify our defense, because apparently I honor some of these players on the other side. I saw somebody having Neff in the hooves, in the socks. I saw one of the players. I was alerting him.
They managed to bring Neff from Liberia to Freetown.
They brought knife, and it's in the socks. It's in the socks. So I saw, in fact, the man, I was tackling me just now. I think I saw him with some kind of small nail in his hand. So I was just trying to tell him, that's why if you notice the game, just stop just now. We're telling the match official. But let me not take our time, because I hear and then blowing the whistle now. So, but during the halftime, we'll call in to get some clarity on some issues.
That's right. Okay, that's one of the strikers. One of the strikers for Henry P. Costa FC, live there from Freetown, Sierra Leone, folks. I'm telling you, one goal to Henry P. Costa FC and nothing to George Weah against us Paradise. Back to the field to play the ball, come to nepotism. Nepotism to George Weah. George Weah back to nepotism. Nepotism to Central Bank. Central Bank back to nepotism. They just appointed the guy who stayed a whole life in America as the Central Bank governor. The first thing that came out of his mouth, I won't give Crown people job because you a Crown man. They got other people that stay here in the Central Bank for a long time. Send a Crown man now, and then maybe Central Bank open. I will look for the qualified Crown people and give them job. What is that? What is that nonsense? I told you say a Crown man, right? But I don't like to follow the stupid Crown ones, the stupid ones. How dare you make that kind of statement? I won't give Crown people a job. Their country does not belong to a particular group of people. Their country belongs to Liberians. This country does not belong to CDC. This country belongs to Liberia. Why now look for a qualified Liberian and offer them job? I mean, giving your kinsman job is nothing bad. But don't come on and open it, tell the people, say, I ain't it here for my own side people down. And do you know, if I read the listing to you of how many crew people are in lucrative positions in this government, you will get sick to your stomach. They pour more on, they conquer people, they pour more on everybody else. You give them small power, they become worse. George Weah is a tribalist. This man sees nothing but tribe. The amount of cruel people he has in this government. What about Lofa, Nima, Cape Mount, Montserrat, other places? Folks, the game has come to a momentary standstill. And we're going to go back to the field of play now. And I think Ben Senvi is 1 minute. He's coming back on the field. I think he's feeling good now. And that's a good sign. The ball comes to WPO. WPO stands for Wicked People Organization. And who are those wicked people? George Weah claims to be peace ambassador. He's in bed with all the ex-rebels, people that killed your mother, that killed your father, that killed your brothers, that killed your sisters. Those are the people George Weah is in bed with now. Oforidia, Augusto Namwe. See if I know, y'all start calling, man. Y'all know what we're playing game here. You know, those are the people George Weah in bed with now. George Weah got death squad now, going after people, going after critical voices. Only God one knows what will happen to the rest of the people in Liberia, the Mo Ali, and then the Senji Skeptor, and then the other people of the COP. Now I hear stupidtions talking about they are successful. Henry Costa is gone now. George Weah will live in peace. You sure George Weah will live in peace? Henry Costa has exposed the ills in society. Henry Costa has exposed George Weah. And George Weah will go down in history as the worst thing that ever happened to Liberia. Why go after people? That Henry Costa told you to come to power and start to steal? You came to power and started enriching yourself at the expense of Liberia and the poor Liberian people. You play professional soccer, made a lot of money. You squander your money. Today you regain your wealth at the expense of Liberia and the poor Liberian people, and nobody can say anything about it? Are you kidding me? Nobody can say anything about it? When people talk, you say, oh, you're calling. You know, you can't do that. Back to the field of play. The ball comes to Bill Tuawe. Bill Tuawe, a.k.a. Gorilla Foster brother, foster child. Gorilla Foster child beats woman onto abuse of power to false promises. False promises to Mulba Molu onto false promises again to abuse of power to nepotism. Nepotism to Bill Tuawe, a.k.a. Gorilla Foster brother, foster child. He beats woman to wish on to murder. Murder to rape. Started to a rapist onto police brutality. Police brutality looks around to harassment. Harassment to hypocrisy. Hypocrisy to Lebose Baboon, aka Samatwe. Lebose Baboon double shovels. He beats woman. Lebose Baboon to Musa Din. Musa Din to Eugene Nangwe, aka George Weah Mope. George Weah Mope beats woman to Sabu Unibat to George Weah Mope, Eugene Nangwe. George Weah Mope beats woman to D-Ho Cover Hole. D-Ho Cover Hole back to George Weah Mope. Onto George Weah. George Weah to excessive force. Excessive force to Lebose Baboon. Lebose Baboon to Gorilla Foster Child. Gorilla Foster Child to illegal arrest. Illegal arrest beats woman to false promises. False promise to border wire open. $20 to cross the border. You get $20, you cross the border because George Weah can't pay. We need to pay ourselves. You bring $20, you can cross the border. Whether you illegal or you illegal, they bring $20, you cross the border. My people, the person is persistent, and let me see. That person is so persistent. Let me see who is that. Hello, caller. Hello. This person is very persistent. They have something for us. Hello, caller. Hello,
people are from the Chili M. Gilos.
Your name?
My name is Chili M. Gilos. I was just on your show, watching your show.
Okay. What can I do for you?
Concerning Costa issue.
Okay, call at halftime. Against it on, yeah. Call at halftime. Beg you, my brother.
All right.
Don't interrupt the flow. Won't go to Henry P. Costa FC. And nothing to George Manawi against the Paradise. People are disappearing now. You can't say anything about George Weah. People will go after you. The ball comes to excessive force to money laundering, back to human rights abuse to selective justice. I say, Eloise, please give me a tissue. Let me wipe my face. I can't dance that with tissue. They still don't have that. Eloise, I beg you, can't dance that quick. Corruption to wasteful spending to illegal arrest to mobile molu peace and puts on the timber. The ball comes to false promises to abuse of power to nepotism to Betuawe, aka Gorilla Foster Child to wish on to murder to police brutality to police water truck to harassment to hypocrisy onto death squad to suppression to George Weah to provocation back to George Weah to hard time back to George Weah to boyo back to George Weah to stupidation back to George Weah to Weabola back to George Weah. He beats so man, puts him on the timber. The ball comes to Baloke Baboon beats one, puts on the timber. The ball comes to Lebose Baboon onto Gorilla Foster Child beats one. The ball has been intercepted now by critical thinker onto Henry Costa. Camera goes to the Ben Sembi. Ben Sembi, perfect key. Perfect key looks around to compromise. Back to perfect key. Perfect key to desperation. Perfect key to desperation. Conversion back to perfect key. AKA all protocol reserve. Perfect key is moving deep in out of the field to Sunshine Sterchild. Sunshine Sterchild to Reverend Sam G. Skepta. To Boyka Jaliba. Boyka Jaliba piece of man. He puts on the table. He make it no, he doesn't. Oh man. In free time, know you like I said. In case you calling Celia Ashford, I know she got the way it cool on the East Coast. Celia Ashford, I know you got your little Hennessy down there. Hey, my sister. Back to the field of play. The ball comes to Oscar Cooper. Oscar Cooper looks around to Henry Costa. Petro Costa, he double shovels. He beats him and puts on the team there. The ball comes to Mo Ali. Mo Ali to Darren Zillon. Darren Zillon back to Henry Costa. Costa looks around to Reverend Sanji Sketa. The ball comes to Steven Johnson. Steven Johnson to Sekou Kene. Sekou Kene looks around to Desperation. Desperation, compromise. Compromise to Perfect Key. Perfect Key back to Sekou Kene. Good air. Sekou Kene back to Perfect Key. Perfect Key back to Sekou Kene. And Perfect Key. And the Costa girl was saying, yeah. Sekou Kene was giving a heart on the other day. They were very Sekou Kene, but now everything on course now. They happy again with Sekou Kene. Yeah. These Costa getting, the Costa building, you can't try them. You can't even be objective. Every time you go Costa will. So my man Sekou redeemed himself today. The man been sick for a while, but he now redeemed himself. And Sekou is on the field of play. Before you were on the bench, but now you're on the field now. The ball comes to Sekou Kene. Sekou Kene looks around to Perfect Key. Perfect Key to Ben Sammy back to Sekou Kene. Sekou Kene looks around to Green. Green to collateral damage bit to Momo Samola onto Manapaka Domwe, Bisman puts on the team. The ball comes to dialogue to negotiation onto Bradbury to things for a part onto Lekotor to feed help the body to looks around to Ebanome to feed help the body. Will he make it? No, he doesn't. The ball have been taken away now by George Weah. George Weah to border wide open to George Weah. George Weah back to border wide open. Turning that to cross the Liberian border. Turning that to cross the Liberian border. George Weah can't pay up. So when you get a $10, you will cross. But when you hear Costa, you get beaten, Jackie, or $20, you will cross the border. Nobody will see you. Border wide open, be so man to 5 years imprisonment. You want to jail somebody for 5 years because they disagree with you. When you have Lebanese people, you have Indian people with Liberian passport. You have Jamaicans with Liberian passport because your wife is from Jamaica. This boy comes back to his own country on a laissez passer. He said, I love my passport because I wanted to get Schengen visa to go visit my son in Italy. And you trying to jail these people's son for 5 years. George Weah, how can one be that wicked to your own Liberian brother because of disagreement? Look, I have your Liberian passport. But when I go to Liberia, sometime this year, I'll go to the embassy in DC and get my Liberian visa and use my US passport. And the American government will know that I'll be in Liberia. And just so you know, I am part of the Black Journalistic Association here in America. There are about 3,000 journalists that meet every year from state to state. I am part of that. And I'm going to Liberia as an international journalist. And I double dare you, George Weah, to come after me. That the day Babu Divakola. You think the country for you? You think you own this country? This country, Liberia, belongs to all of us. Our parents share blood for Liberia. What happened to you? When we were running for bullets, when we couldn't eat, when we were dashing bullets. Some of us never had eventful childhood. Some of us never enjoyed anything. Our exercise was running from bullets, dashing bullets in Liberia. You know what it means for somebody to call you and say, go and identify your brother's body, go and identify your mom's body, go and identify your father's body. George Weah, you were enjoying sweet, but we couldn't find food to eat. When our children were eating in a dump pile, you were enjoying sweet. Your children don't know what suffering is. And because the people say, send the boat, people giving us hard time, anytime they can can come now and become president. God gave a boy chance to be president. That bad the people do. You suffer your own people. If you're not from the crew tribe, you're not working government, you'll not get good job. That's what you came to power for. You won't kill the people's son because he disagree with you. Henry Costa cannot harm a fly. What is your problem? They say, oh, the man come inside the oil now. They're 25 million. They're 15 billion. All the money you stole, you won't happy. You come and sell oil now. Now oil black, you come and sell. When people talking, oh yeah, but I thought anything George Weah want to do, let you do it. We did not deserve the George Weah. You have money, the once rich man, you got poor. You couldn't afford gasoline or fuel for your generator. You used to go to your representative and senator to beg them for gasoline. George Weah had a big drum in his house, in his bathroom. Pour bucket in the drum and flush the toilet. Today, Rehab Road, the house that I mentioned. You won't stop there. You broke down the house on 9th Street, King Lounge, and put it a big mansion. Multiple condominiums in less than a year at the expense of Liberia and the poor Liberian people. But you feel you've done nothing wrong. Today, George Weah, and I don't even want to hear Joy Howard Taylor complaining. This is the woman who say, this is our time. And folks, one goal to Henry P. Costa FC and nothing to George Weah against the Paradise. That's how we came to the end of the first half. And folks, just before we open on the telephone line, I want you to listen to the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia telling you that this is our time. She forgot that she told you this is our time. You have to join the CDC for you to get a job. Today, she can't get her own money. Today, she's staying home for 3 weeks because she didn't get gasoline. She complaining now. But listen to what she said a year and a half or so ago.
La famille moyenne chérie, tu m'as troublé, oh oh, tu m'as troublé mon amour, je suis à toi.
That the only way her corps of officers could begin to do work is if they were inducted into office. Truthfully, all of the 13 commissioners might not be members of the coalition. We got 1 or 2 that might not be. You always join because other people join the United Party. So I'm waiting for her to call me to your district to tell me that you're joining the ruling coalition, those who are not members. The power says, how can 2 work together if they don't agree? For us to agree, we will all be on the same side. So if you see you can't make it, then you tell, we'll find somebody else. Yeah. Anybody want to feed it now? What you're talking now before we go far. Yeah. Our royal was part of the meeting of the commissioners. And somebody now in the coalition, the thing I want to talk about. So you're just we all had in your whole mind. So show you the fact that some people sitting here and they're not members of the coalition. But we got nothing against you. Because then I will accept everybody. What you have done to me? Nothing about time. Nothing you do about time. With the known candidate from the CDC, our superintendent and all of the other local government officials. Because like I said, our government we're not coming to our best right to other people. Now what time to eat?
You hear that? That what time to eat? Today she's complaining that her staff can't get paid and her cars are parked because there's no gasoline in her vehicle. Because leprosy baboon aka Samuel Toy, and Gorida's foster child, aka Bill Twawe, and Witchcraft Belly, aka Nathaniel McGill. These three people, one of them wants to be vice president. And now we're hearing Joy Howard Taylor is contemplating on going as a candidate in 2023 because she's been sidelined and she comes from the NPP. And folks, the telephone number is up there. It's 248-979-1718. We're at halftime now. We want to hear from you. You at the Shaka Stevens International, Shaka Stevens Stadium, where Henry Petro Costa FC is going against George Manawea Gangsters Paradise. I want you to call in and tell us what you're looking at. If you're on gate 14 or gate 23 or gate 30, call in now and tell us what you see on the field of play. The phone is already ringing. Now let's go to the line. Hello, caller. Tell us the name and where you call from.
Hey, Ashford, this is Sanford from San Francisco.
Hey, my brother, welcome to the show. You've become one of our favorite now on the show.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a suggestion to you. I think it would be good that you see. I mean, if you don't mind, we can probably donate. But it would be better that you have this program aired. I mean, on one of the local radio stations or a couple of radio stations in Liberia, because I know this is very important for the local people over there. This is how the message can relate to them. So I just wanted to make that suggestion.
Thank you. It's in the works already. As a matter of fact, let me just bring this to your attention. This is a program that made me, and for those of our brothers and sisters who are on here now, that heard me on the radio in the 90s, this program stood up. And you can say everything but child stealers. Even though I went to jail and I was called to the executive mansion, but I never stopped playing the political soccer game. Child stealers saw this as entertainment, but just some of the people around here said, "The boy, the thing he talking about the papier, you know," because corruption never stopped, and corruption would never stop in Liberia. We have corruption, we have nepotism, we have false promises. All the players I used to play the football game, and this game took me to the next level. The next thing you know, hey, I was on a plane to America, and the rest is history. So we are working on it now. So that's a good suggestion, but we're thinking about it already. We already have a local presence in Liberia. As a matter of fact, our local correspondent is Habiba Clinton. He'll be joining us very shortly. So that's a good idea. But what do you think about the game today? Now,
quickly, we are praying along with Costa because Costa is our brother, and we hope that he gets back. And I'm going to be. We hope that everybody in the U.S. to find a way, find somehow something to get away and work on our brother and show the world that we are together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's our brother there from California. Hello, caller. Tell us your name.
Yeah, my name is Prince Toe, and I'm calling from Virginia.
Tell us your name, sir.
My name is Prince Toe, calling from Virginia.
Yeah, go ahead. We're listening to you.
Okay, so I'm on the Shaka Stevens Stadium right now, and as you all know, Henry Costa FC is way ahead of George Weah FC by I think 2-1.
No, one goal. One goal. The second goal they say it was offside, so that one goal.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, here is the thing, man. Henry Costa made one of the best decisions of his life, you know, to leave Liberia and head on to Sierra Leone. And kudos to the government and people of Sierra Leone for being very responsible. And I know they are a responsible government. They have a leader who is very sound, who knows much about governance. And he's proven to the world. We now know that there are countries in Africa that we can count on. There are governments in Africa that we can count on. The likes of Sierra Leone and other countries. Unlike our own country like Liberia, we are in a very troubled times. We are in the troubled times, you know, in that country. You know, it is sad that, you know, this has to happen. But Henry Costa remains now the face of the opposition in Liberia. Henry Costa is now the only face that the entire world knows. He's the one who has put his life on the line for the many Liberians who have been marginalized. Henry Costa will go down in history as the youngest advocate who, left everything down to Liberia. At the time his life was threatened, people asked this man not to go. He said, I will go. He did it not for himself. He did it for the people. So because of that selfless service he has shown to his people, Henry Costa will be remembered and will be written on in the history books of that country.
What do you also make of, for example, somebody approaches you, the person have a Nigerian accent, and the next thing you know, the person whips up his passport, you see a Liberian passport, and you start to think to yourself, but the person doesn't sound like me. and you ask the person, where are you from? The person says, I'm from Liberia. Were you born in Liberia? No, I was not born in Liberia. But, anything goes in Liberia. There's a guy at the Ministry of State called James Porter. I bought this passport, $3,500. Service passport. Right. What do you make of that? And then Henry Costa, who is a true son of Liberia. This boy went through the war. He can't come back to his own country with a laissez-passer. And you're trying to send him to jail because of that? You're trying to go after him because of that?
The thing was, they were using that to get at Henry Costa. The issue of the laissez-passer was not really what the government was at. They had a hidden agenda, and that hidden agenda was to silence the man who had been very tough on the level of bad governance in that country. He has been pointing a lot of ills in society, the woes of that government. Henry Costa has been the only voice in that country that kind of like spew out all the bad dealings of the Weah administration. So they were using that to get to Henry Costa. Their main focus was to grab this man, lock him up, and shut him down, or either use their criminal enterprise to, George Weah has a lot of rebel in that country that he and McGill and the rest, support to assassinate people, to do whatever. So they were using this as a perfect opportunity to get rid of Henry Costa. But God had Henry Costa on this earth for a reason.
Thank you.
That's the reason why.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Right. So now Henry Costa is at the right place. So now I just want to say that to close. Henry Costa is coming back to the United States. He's going to be here. He's going to get back to school. He's going to finish up his school. Look, we Liberians in the diaspora will come around support Henry Costa. Henry Costa will go back to Liberia like a Messiah. It's going to be like a second coming. He's going to get back there. He's going to have a triumphant entry in years to come. And Henry Costa will become praised that day.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. And we have a 610 number, 803. Tell us your name and where you call from.
Yes, sir. How are you, my brother? My name is Rebecca.
Rebecca, welcome to the show. Too blessed to be stressed. What is on your mind tonight? You didn't sound like this yesterday. You sounding good now.
If you were looking at me the way I'm looking at you right now, you will see the joy. You will see the joy and the joy and the joy. And I'm sitting at the VIP. I'm not even get 15, get 16. I'm ready to VIP. I'm eating hot dog. I'm eating popcorn, and I'm drinking Hennessy this time, okay, brother. I'm telling you, I'm drinking Hennessy this time. And I'm telling you, look, the only thing I want to say, brother, prepare. 2029, Henry Costa for president. 2029, I've been for y'all. Y'all write this down. Keep this video. Y'all keep this. You, my brother, we are going to use you to be the spokesman for the government at that time. Get ready, prepare yourself, brother. You ain't gonna be sitting up behind there. We need you. You're gonna be on the team. We carry Henry Costa 2029. That bring people like it or not. If you can put dumbbell in the power, you can get an educated man of power also. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling. And just for the record, I'm not interested in government job. You know, we can contribute in so many ways, that train our upcoming brothers and sisters on how to do the right thing, but go into government, that's just not my cup of tea. But thanks anyway, and we pray that we all live long to see great things happen for Liberia. 612-398-3579. Tell us the name of where you call from.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Tell us the name of where you call from.
My name is Kenny and Milos. I'm calling from Minnesota.
Okay, you got 2 minutes. Go ahead. We're listening to you.
It's kind of coastal issue. Coastal lesson for the one expire. Go down the whole trip of government. My grandfather was in government with someone judge, someone in government. Go down the I'll tell government way. Coastal lesson class one expire. Other coastal one the Labrador into the country the lesson passing. The same day the government stopped the lesson passing because now we say to get the crowd too much to put in there. Because I the country enough, focus on the G the first time because we're going to protest. I want to keep you silent. After the protest over, we send it back to America. One is in the next. The people was expired. It was not expired. They want to put them in jail and kill them and see my grandfather die. See my grandfather. When the first person is sending all country of law, so document expire in jail. Country of law said the immigration law said that fire in jail. If you want the jail of fire in that jail, you will person and fake person. Of course, I was very smart to leave Labrador. Yes.
Thank you.
Of course, I very smart to leave. Of course, I be careful not to enter Labrador and Labrador government over. Then you try to go to Labrador, you're not late again.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Okay, we have 612-398-3579. Tell us the name of where you call from. Okay, again, we're gonna go back to one of the strikers for the NDP Coastal FC. We'll have him back on the line, Mr. Ben Senvi, they have this afternoon. Ben, again, you were in a huddle earlier with the captain of the NDP Coastal FC. And we'll also see our sisters, our hard-working sisters, daughters, and wives, husbands, left from America, went to Freetown, Sierra Leone in support of NDP Coastal FC. What do you know so far, Mr. Senvi?
Well, Mr. Garley, thank you. First of all, if you notice, when I was speaking earlier, I was trying to catch my breath because the game was not easy. But I think we see, I think you see the score. We are looking forward to ending this game with a victory tonight. But I just wanted to, call in. The good thing is that the team is in good spirit. Henry is in good spirits. Dillon, everybody, Prophet Key, everybody's in good spirits. Everybody's excited. We're looking forward to the conclusion of this particular situation, and hopefully the next chapter begins. The next chapter, and one of the things that I was excited about what you talked about today was the need for everybody to come together and find a common ground, because we are dealing with a serious threat to our democracy. I have said, and I will continue to say, I posted something on my Facebook page a few minutes ago, and it's a quote from Michelle Obama that says, "The president said, don't change you. It only reveals who you are." And, the reason that came to my mind was because I was listening to my brother Vendela Patrick's talk about, he was talking about the George Weah that they voted for, or the George Weah that even myself supported in the runoff. Something has happened to that George Weah, or he's no longer around. And, listening to him, I want to disagree, because maybe this has always been who George Weah was. He just needed, like Michelle Obama said, the power is what truly reveals who you are. It doesn't change you. The president has disappointed a lot of people, but I will say this, that, and Mr. Garley, you know me, I'm one of those people who I will own up when I have to own up, but I will say this, and I will be very, very frank and practical with you, is that there has to be a change of the guard. That's just the reality of what we are finding ourselves in. There has to be a change of the guard. There is evolution taking place in itself. the leadership of our country, not just about being president or being senator. It's about owning up to the responsibility and looking ourselves in the mirror. And I think, when many people ask me, why are you so close to Henry Costa? Me and Costa go way, way back. It's because he's not perfect, but I know his heart. I know the man, and we have these discussions. Whether we disagree or we don't disagree, and we've been on different opposite sides many times, but the mutual respect has always been there. So I'm excited to see everybody putting their act together. I'm excited to see everybody coming together. For once, look, I got a chance to speak to Senator Lindsey Graham's office earlier today. And I would tell you something, Mr. Garley, what the people from Senator Lindsey Graham's office told me. They said, we have not received so many calls. They said, we have not received so many calls about Liberia than we've received in the last 48 hours. And for me, that was a proud moment for me, because it showed me that my country and my citizens and my people, my brothers and sisters, we are transitioning. The attitude of nonchalant, the attitude of being the crab mentality. I saw people who today, I was reading Facebook, and I saw people who today originally had issues with Costa. I saw them change their profile picture to his picture. And I don't think it's about him. He just happened to be the symbol right now that is uniting, that everybody needs to come around. And my message to my friend, the president, I hope he still considers me a friend, because I still do, because I always tell people, only a true friend will tell you what you need to hear. Like I always remind people, Martin Luther King always said, we will not remember the voices of our enemies, but we will remember the silence of our friends. President Weah has an opportunity. He can turn this around. We don't have 4 years to waste. Look at the very Sierra Leone. Did you listen, Mr. Garley, to the Sierra Leonean information minister? He said, we will not do anything. He said, we will not do anything to stain the sparkling recognition that we have when it comes to democracy on the continent of Africa. Sierra Leone is now looking at Ghana. They're looking at other countries. They're attacking new frontiers. They're breaking down barriers, Mr. Garley. And it pains my heart that in the 21st century, instead of my president taking the energy that he is spending and he's wasting currently on foolishness, because this is foolishness, Mr. Garley, instead of him wasting that, instead of him giving that energy to fighting corruption, to doing the things that the people of Liberia elected him for, where would the people of Liberia look anymore? Where would they look? They went into the slums. They went into the slums because they believed that George Weah was one of them. But you know something? Maybe this was who George Weah was always. Maybe George Weah was always who he is today. When I see his apologists, when I see his surrogates, when I listen to the Minister of Information talking about Henry Costa is involving insurrection. Insurrection by doing what? Insurrection by speaking the truth to power? Costa is by no stretch of the imagination perfect. And Costa knows I would say it to him personally, and I can say it publicly. But you know what? This generation of leaders, as imperfect as we are, Mr. Garley, we are determined to hold leaders accountable. Look, we may not be perfect. We may have our issues, but we will no longer sit by. Look, the next president after George Weah, and that's why I keep on saying, these things needs to happen so that they can understand, Mr. Garley, that business is not going to be business as usual. It's not going to be business as usual, and that we're going to fight to change our country. Ethiopia is breaking down barriers. Ghana having year of return, billions of dollars going in the economy. What are we doing, Mr. Garley? We are sitting around having an argument. Our government is wasting precious resources over a stupid issue of laissez-passer. This is not about breaking the law. Costa didn't break any law. It is just George Weah in his own insecurity and complexness that he has, that he feels he has to beat his chest. That's what's going on right now. I know the man. What's going on right now is George Weah beating his chest that he wants to show that he's president, and he can say Costa will come back and Costa will come down. But I got news for you, Mr. President. We live in a different world. We live in a different time. Some of us did not have to be physically in Liberia to make the phone calls that we made. Some of us did not have to be physically in the country to effect the things that we did to see the positivity that ended up happening today. And you saw the rallying of the civil society in Sierra Leone. You saw Menipake Dumor. You saw T. Gure getting on the plane, arriving in Freetown. It is what this generation of young leaders are going to do. We will stand with one another. Each one will bring one. We will leave no soldier behind. And Mr. President, I want you to know, because I know you're going to listen to this. I want you to know that you're not going to govern our country anyway. Whether we support you or we supported you in the past, Henry Costa supported you for 10 months. He supported you for 10 months. He gave you an opportunity for 10 months. The courage to recognize something, the courage to take a step back, Mr. Garley, the courage to take a step back and say, this is not what I signed up for. It's what we are doing at this point in time. That's why I give God the glory for giving me the strength, Mr. Garley, to make the decisions that I made, for giving me the courage to not sit there and say, you know what? Oh, Joe, we are my friend. We'll figure out, we can keep petting him and keep petting him. We're not going to do things that way anymore, Mr. Garley. And that's why I'm so
Mr. Samuel, let me ask you this. Have you found closure? Are you still pounding on yourself? I remember back then in 2014, you contested against George Weah, and in your way, you said he was not qualified to be a senator. And then fast forward in the second round, you were the chairman of a major political party. You left all of that and give your support to George Weah, and today you are regretting. Do you still think about what you did, or you have moved on now and you're putting this behind you?
Mr. Garley, I can never completely move on, because I see the decision that I made. Even though I went to support George Weah 2 weeks before the election, people believed in me. I know there were thousands of people who believed in me because they saw me go there. They thought it was, you know what, if Ben can give him a shot, maybe I too can give him a shot. And you know what, at the end of the day, like I say, in as much as I cannot control what Mr. Weah does, what I can control is what I'm doing now, is standing up. Even people who disagree with me to this day, the moment when I open my mouth to speak, they remind me. They have all right to remind me. That's why I'm personally reaching out to them as much as I can. I'm reaching out to everybody, because at the end of the day, it's not how many times you fall, Mr. Garley. It's not how many bad decisions you make. It's what you do after you fall, and what you do after those bad decisions are made. Me voting, look, I will say it here. There are not a lot of decisions I've made politically that I've regretted. There's not, because I'm a leader who owns up. I will take the consequences. I will take the good and the bad. The reason I regret this is because I feel like I was swindled. I feel like I was misled. Listen, I had a conversation with George Weah. I had a one-on-one conversation with him. And I know the things that we talked about. And that's why I laugh when people talk about the fact that, oh, you vexed because you didn't get a job. Listen, Mr. Garley, even if I were to, the fact that I don't have a job in this government, for me, it's a loss to them. I'm a qualified young man. I'm smart. I love my country. I know what I want to see for my country. The fact that I don't have a job in this government, it's a loss to this government. And when I look at it in hindsight, what better job? What government would I want to serve in? A government that I see this happening? For me, to answer your question, I don't think I can ever move on. What I can do is, I cannot let my past hold me hostage. What I'm doing now is shaping my future. It's being a part of history. Many people ask me, Ben, why are you with a COP? You're a leader in your own right. Listen, we are all leaders. The crab mentality is what has killed our generation, Mr. Garley, that if it can't be Ben, it can't be Costa. You know what? This is his moment. This is Henry Costa's moment. And I remind my friends every single day, don't take this moment for granted. Because you know what? George Weah had this moment, even better than this. People used to walk miles just to go and see George Weah. People used to print T-shirts on with their own money. There is a famous picture of a woman kneeling down, kissing George Weah picture on that bus. Have anybody asked where that woman is today? Has anybody asked where these people who believed in this man, then who is little old me, who made a political decision, who split my party in the middle, who literally almost took the heart out of my party because I was national chairman of the Liberty Party. But you know what, Mr. Garley, I can only shape my future. I can only forge ahead and not become a hostage to my past. And I was hell-bent on making sure that I was not going to die on George Weah's altar. I was never going to die on George Weah's altar because you know what? This is bigger than him. This is about our country, and I'm a patriot in the strongest of world. And I'm a proud member of the Council of Patriots. I'm a proud member. I'm a proud friend to Henry Costa. I'm so proud. Me and Henry Costa went to the National Conference on the Future of Liberia. This is the amazing things that I'm talking about, where people are shaping their own destiny. Look at other countries, Mr. Garley. Look at the age of other leaders in other countries. Justin Trudeau, Emmanuel Macron. Look at the barriers these men. Abiy in who just won the Nobel Peace Prize in Ethiopia, sending Kenya, all these countries, Ethiopia sending a satellite in space. What are we having a conversation about in our country? We're having a conversation with a president who gets up on a pulpit and say he would take that little boy down the street and whistle him 2 times. Mr. President, when you speak, bring your people together. Bring your people together. You still have an opportunity to throw out the olive branch. You are the president. Be magnanimous in your presidency. Pull people together, hold them together, and say to them, listen, this is our country. This is our country. This is the only country that we have. That's the reason. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking to overthrow you.
Earlier on the field of play, I said Charles Taylor fled the country, went to jail, returned, and became president of Liberia after the Civil War. Ellen Johnson said he fled the country. She returned and became president of Liberia.
Yes.
Last week, a friend of mine who is watching on Volcano Shelton said George Weah did the same thing. He ran from Charles Taylor, returned to Liberia, and he became president of Liberia. Today, your friend and brother, Henry Costa, flees Liberia. He travels to Freetown. He's now on his way to the United States of America. He's just 37 years old, and who knows? He might want to return and seek the higher office. How do you respond?
Listen, Mr. Garley. It is within the right of every Liberian. It is within the right of every Liberian to want to be president. Only in our country that we can be scared to talk about our dreams. Barack Obama, I tell people all the time, if you read the story of Barack Obama, the people around Obama always knew he wanted to be president. They always knew Barack Obama wanted to be president. Only in Liberia, they tell us we're too young. They tell us to suppress our dreams. They tell us not to reach for new frontiers and break down barriers. If Henry Costa wants to be president, which I know he said over and over that he wants to be president, he has to work hard. He has to continue to do the things that he's doing. He has to work hard for his people to believe in him. Because again, like I say, this popularity is never promised. These things are all vanity. They're not promised because at the end of the day, it's about the people's trust. What I do know is that what runs in our veins is love of country. What runs in our veins is the opportunity that we want to see our country do well, that we want our children who were born in different countries. I'm a father of 3 kids. They were born in the United States. But up to this day, I teach them that your home is Liberia, that your home is Liberia. If you go in my son's bedroom, he has a huge Liberian flag on his wall. That's how much Liberia is in my veins. That's how much I care for my country. That's why I say, at the end of the day, I will tell you, Mr. Garley, this is not about fist pumping or chest beating. This is not about, oh, we just want to talk because we want to talk. This is about our nation. This is about that country that I know, the Liberia that we all dream of. Mr. Garley, I know you have dreams of Liberia. I know you have dreams of the Liberia you want to see. Why can't we have that Liberia? Why can't Liberia aspire to be the best nation in Africa? God damn it, why can't we aspire to be the best nation in the world? Obama said it. America continues to perfect her union. They may never perfect it, but they keep working towards perfecting it. And for me, That's what this journey is about. That's what being a part of the COP is about. The COP is not perfect. We have our fights. We have our ups and downs. We have people who say, "Oh, we got moral character to talk." But guess what? The COP is the only one standing up and talking. The COP is the only one that's exposed her chest to the bullets. Henry Costa was the only one who took. How many of us would have left the comfort of these United States to go into a situation where we knew we were being threatened? That's what this is about, Mr. Garley. The other day when I got up and I spoke on Facebook, I spoke out of conviction. I spoke the passion that I spoke with was the same passion that I spoke with when I endorsed Mr. Weah. That when I warned him and I told him, do not let your people down. Because you know what? The same people who raise you up, those same people are expecting different from you. And if you dare not give them different, they will scream you down. Now, I know other people want to call.
The mouthpiece of the government of Liberia, Eugene L. Fangon, said in a Facebook comment that Henry Costa will soon die. Now, the executive mansion distanced herself from that comment by Eugene L. Fangon. If you hit somebody to the point where you want to see the person dead, what does that say to Liberians? What does that say to you? What does that say to the country? Ben?
There are not a lot of people. I try my best to not give credence to clowns and certified buffoons. But Eugene Fagon is one of those people. Eugene Fagon is a certified clown and he's a certified buffoon. You know why I say so? Because he's a man who stands for nothing. He's a man who has no spine. He's a man who has no foundation. He's a man who doesn't understand the moment in which we stand. He doesn't understand that they're governing, that they are part of a government that is governing a country in the 21st century. They're governing a country in the 21st century and they're acting like they're in the 10th century or the 16th century, right? When you see, and it's part of them now understanding the moment that they're in. That's why a senior official of the Liberian government would take himself and write on Facebook that somebody will die and think that that would not be consequential. That is what I'm talking about. So I don't want to elevate Mr. Fagon. I don't respect him. He's not one of the people who I respect. He's not one of the people who I see as someone who, I can even have a conversation with because he does more lying than speaking truth. But guess what? Those are the people that our president has surrounded himself with. Like I said the other day, our president has surrounded himself with a bunch of sycophants and grave seekers. He has created an aura around him where people cannot even say the truth to him. What my president needs, because he's still our president, whether we like it or not. What he needs is he needs to build a network of truth tellers. He needs to wake up in the morning and understand that sycophants will always be around. But you know what? Maybe tonight I'm going to tune into the Ashford Garley show. Maybe I'm going to listen to the political football game. Maybe I'm going to listen to the Sekou Kane show. Maybe I'm going to listen to the Costa show. And maybe what these people are saying, maybe because even if it hurts me so much, something in there may be true. That's what it is. I don't respond to certified buffoons and clowns because that's what Eugene Fagon is. He's one of those people who doesn't understand who he is and his function. So let him continue doing the thing he's doing. You know what? There was Baghdad Bob. There was the Libyan presidential spokesperson who, when the bombs were dropping and the Americans were moving into Baghdad, he said, oh, the infidels were dying. Guess what? When they took Saddam Hussein to the gallows, he wasn't there with him. When Muammar Gaddafi was being dragged in the streets of Sirte, that spokesman wasn't there. And that's why I tell my president all the time. That's why I tell him. These people are these people would not be around you. Charles Gange Taylor is sitting in a 6x8 cell today. Where are ministers? Are they there? In fact, some of them are around Mr. Weah today. That's the message. Anybody who has the guts to say what is truthful, to speak in the face of power, to speak truth to power, for me, I respect that person. It's not about the mistakes that they've made. Mr. Garley, we all have fallen short. We all make mistakes. We fall down, we wake up. It's about how we push forward. It's about how we persevere. I know, like I said, I know there are other people who want to call, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to say to my friend and brother Henry how proud I am of him today. How proud I am of him. how excited and grateful to God I am for his life. Because you know what? We could have been having another conversation here today on this call. Costa could have been dead. What will we say as a country? What will we say? What will the people who often castigate him say? How many of us will take the opportunity or to take the risk that he took? I'm so grateful that I call him friend and I call him brother. He's one of the few young people who I look at and I look up to, and I know the feeling is mutual. So I'm grateful for his life. I thank you for celebrating him, because you know what? In our darkest moments, we need people. We don't have to wait for them to die like we did the other day with your Councillor Bromsky, where when he died, everybody started saying, oh, you know, so and so, so and so. Let's give people the flowers while they're alive. It doesn't mean Costa is perfect. He's a young man that is evolving. I just want to thank all of you. I want to thank everybody who's listening to this program. Mr. Garley, I want to thank you for your service to your country. What you're doing, you can't even begin to understand the impact that you are having. People are listening to you all over the world. Kids are listening to you. Keep on pushing. The Liberia that we dream of, Mr. Garley, that Liberia will come. I believe it. I believe that Liberia's best days are still ahead. I will end on this note to go and get ready for the second half of the game. Thank you, Mr. Garley, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the voice of Mr. Benjamin Senve, former chairman of the Liberty Party and official for the Council of Patriots. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a listen to the information minister of the Republic of Liberia. He was on the BBC earlier, and you will be surprised at some of the things he was saying. When your interviewer is saying, we will leave it as that means you are not telling the truth. But you be the judge and take a listen to Eugene Nangwe.
We have submitted a formal diplomatic note through the proper channels to Sierra Leone, in which we have catalogued several felonious violations of Liberian law by Mr. Costa. We have requested the government of Sierra Leone to extradite him to Liberia to face the law.
It sounds very much as if you are using diplomatic channels, Liberia's political muscles, to harass somebody who's clearly asking very, very valid questions of the Liberian president and the government.
Mr. President has shown that he is a Democrat, that he has observed all of the tenets of the rule of law and of democracy. You will realize that over the past several months since Mr. Weah became president, there have been several protests, several agitation. The opposition is active. Mr. Costa, who is the de facto leader of the opposition, has led several protests. He has never been arrested in Liberia. Never, ever. There is not a single political prisoner in the Liberian jail. But when a public figure chooses to abuse the law and violate the law, we are under obligation to ensure that that individual is brought to book, because as a public figure, you are under even heavier onus to observe the law. So it is not about politics, it's about the violation of the rule of law in Liberia. And check our jails, there's not a single political prisoner. But if an individual who is a political figure chooses not to follow the law but to violate the law, the president and the government, we are on the obligation to ensure that that individual is brought to book.
So what's this big crime that he has committed?
We've cataloged all of the crimes from insurrection in several ways, violation of the penal codes of Liberia, and also including fraudulently acquiring Liberian travel documents. Now, why is this important? Because our country has a history where Liberian travel documents been used in the past for nefarious activities. So we're very concerned, not just about this particular incident, but about all of the violation of law that Mr. Costa has committed. And we have submitted to the Sierra Leonean government through the proper procedures, and we are available for this to be discussed in open court. Our government has remained transparent.
We have always followed the rule of law, even in our own country, where in several instances the court of law has ruled against Mr. President and he has abided by the decisions of the court. So it's not about the accusations which are frivolous that Mr. Costa continues to make against the
Let me
president,
just put it
but
to
it's
you
about
that clearly this sounds like victimization.
Yeah.
Do you reject that?
totally reject that because the record of President Weah is that he has not used his power as president to violate the right of any Liberian citizen, let alone members of the opposition. The records are there. Not a single political prisoner. We have a vibrant press that, most times would not give us the opportunity to get heard. Yet we don't touch them. Yet we don't violate the right. But when there is a flagrant violation of the Liberian law, we are under obligation to take action in keeping with the laws of Liberia and with international law.
Eugene Agwe, the Information Minister of Liberia, will leave it at that for now. Next week.
We're back on the field for the second and final portion of the game. Following the halftime, Henry P. Costa FC has 1 goal, and George Manaway against his Paradise has 0. The ball is now in the middle of the field. But just before then, we'll have 10 minutes of foot race between George Weah and Henry Costa. And they'll see who wins this foot race. Liberia will say running race. So we'll have 10 minutes of foot race between George Weah and Henry Costa. On the mat. Get set. Go! Henry Costa is at the Farmington Hotel. George Weah is at Smenotes. And this race will continue until they reach at ELWA Junction. George Weah is ahead of Henry Costa right now. Henry Costa is trying his best to catch up with George Weah. Henry Costa is slightly taller than George Weah. And George Weah is dead. George Weah has one problem. You know, he played professional soccer for many, many years. But following his retirement, he gained a little bit of weight. So as a man now, if you're staying low down and you can't see your man who, then you have a problem. As a man, when you low down and can't see your belt buckle, then you have a problem. As a man, if you can't bend down and tie your shoestrings, then you have a problem. I don't know if you think this is going to be one of the reasons why he might not win the race, but Henry Costa is closely coming to George Weah as they do the foot race now. They are approaching Tinker's Village. Henry Costa is closely coming, 3 feet away from George Weah. George Weah is pushing. He's pushing. He's continuing. He's going. Henry Costa is almost there. George Weah is fighting back. George Weah slips and falls. And guess what? George Weah passes gas. He gets up, tries to chase Henry Costa. Costa is way ahead of him. Costa is at Bonja now, while George Weah is at the Baptist Seminary. The reason not easy, so George Weah is coming. Costa is way ahead. Oh man. My people, George Weah say tired. Costa is at Rehab Junction. He's moving. And the official will have to cut off the race because George Weah called him for time out. He said he can't make it no more. So the 37-year-old begin and the 53-year-old Pape, Henry Costa wins the race against George Weah. Back to the field of play. The ball is now in the middle of the field, folks. It's the Henry P. Costa FC going against George Manaway against the Paradise. The ball comes to Henry Costa. Henry Costa beats woman. Puts it for the teammate. The ball comes to pay as you go. Pay as you go to accountability. Accountability looks around to communication. Communication beats woman. He connects Darius DeLong. Darius DeLong to Mo Ali. Mo Ali loses the ball to Insurrection. Insurrection? against Henry Costa? Insurrection looks around to George Weah. George Weah looks around to D-Ho cover hole. D-Ho cover hole back to George Weah. George Weah back to D-Ho cover hole. D-Ho cover hole back to George Weah. George Weah to excessive force. Excessive force back to George Weah. George Weah to human rights abuse. Human rights abuse back to George Weah. George Weah to wasteful spending. Wasteful spending back to George Weah. George Weah to corruption. Corruption back to George Weah. George Weah to Akaras Moses Gray, aka Opion King Kong. Opion King Kong back to George Weah. George Weah to illegal arrest. Illegal arrest back to George Weah. George Weah connect. Samuel Toy, aka Labase Babon. Labase Babon back to George Weah. George Weah connect Bill Toy, aka Gorilla Foster Child. Gorilla Foster Child back to George Weah. He's moving deep in out of the field. George Weah, the police brutality to harassment. Harassment to hypocrisy. Hypocrisy be so man. The ball comes to WPO. WPO to unemployment. Unemployment to hard time. Hard time to prepare my way. Prepare my way to Boyo. Boyo be swimming to dictatorship. Dictatorship looks around to Varo, aka Virus. Varo be swimming, puts up the team. The ball comes to NSA. NSA to insurrection. Insurrection to Liberia National Police on the drugs abuse. Drugs abuse moving deep in out of the field. The ball comes to border wide open. Our border wide open now. You need $20 to cross the border. You can't do nothing else. 33 to 48 points where you can come in the country and leave the country as long as you get $20. Because the people say, John, we can't pay that. So when you get that $20 US, then you can cross the border. Border wide open, be swimming. The wicked people organization, wicked people that the border wide open. What about open to what pay as you go? Pay as you go, looks around, you lose at the border here in the P Costa. Henry Costa looks around. The baseman put the ball down to Steven Johnson. Steven Johnson is second to Sekou Kenneth. Sekou Kenneth to Prophet Key, aka all protocol reserve. Prophet Key to Ben Senvi. Ben Senvi back to Prophet Key to compromise. Compromise looks around to desperation. Desperation back to Green. Green to collateral damage onto Mobile Samula to Eloise Salif Garley. She beats one man, beats the second man. The ball comes to Sunshine Stepchild. Sunshine Stepchild beats one man to accountability to pay as you go. Liberia has lost her overdraft protection privileges. No credit in Liberia. Listen, everything you want now from Liberia, you got to pay cash. George, we have destroyed the economy. He went to the World Bank account, stole from the World Bank account, went to the Donors Fund, stole from there, depleted the Social Security account. The central bank is empty. And George Weah calls this borrowing initiative. How can you borrow something without telling me? Jesus Christ. The ball comes to Borka Jaliba. Borka Jaliba looks around to Oscar Cooper. Oscar Cooper back to Henry Costa. Costa to Mo Ali. Mo Ali Darazilon. Darazilon beats to Borka Jaliba. The ball comes to Prophet Key. Prophet Key, aka all protocol reserve. Prophet Key to Ben Senvi back to Prophet Key. He's moving deep in and out of the field. Prophet Key beats one man. He beats the second man. The ball comes to collateral damage. The ball comes to negotiation onto bribery. Bribery back to Prophet Key. Prophet Key to Oscar Cooper. Oscar Cooper is moving deep in and out of the field. The ball comes to compromise. Compromise back to Prophet Key. Prophet Key is moving. He beats one man. He gets George Weah back for. George Weah going. Prophet Key to Ben Senvi. Ben Senvi back to Prophet Key to Henry Costa. Costa back to Prophet Key. He show, ladies and gentlemen, goal number 2 for Henry P. Costa FC. Second goal coming from the leg of Prophet Key. Through an assist for Henry Petro Costa. 2 goals to Henry Petro Costa FC and nothing to George Weah against the Paradise. I want to say a big thank you. A big thank you to the hard-working sisters, the hard-working mothers, the hard-working daughters, and the cheerleader of Henry Petro Costa. They traveled all the way from the United States, came here in Freetown, Sierra Leone, just to support Henry Petro Costa. You know, Henry Costa will be traveling back to the United States of America, and these women, they work hard. Sometimes they work 12 hours, they work 15 hours. They are doing GoFundMe now just to support the brother. George Weah is, on the other hand, doing favor for Sunshine Girls. What are some of the favors that George Weah is doing for the Sunshine Girls? George Weah calls you, whether you marry or not. He said he wants to sleep with you, and then in exchange, he will give you job. So most of the female that you find in position now, that George Weah little thing, that's why they call themselves the Sunshine Girls. And this is just not fair for Liberia and the people of Liberia. You shouldn't have to lay off with somebody before you give them job. I think it's unfair. This is not decency. This is not civilization. And you heard from the chairman of the ruling party, Molba Molo. He said George Weah goes out, gets money in the name of Liberia. He brings the money to Liberia, and he instructs Samuel Toe, I went for my money. This money is not the Liberian people money. And Samuel Toe instructs the people to take the money to George Weah's house. George Weah has millions of dollars in his home while the country is broke. No medical supplies, no safe drinking water. Hospitals are shutting down because there's not enough fuel to run the generators. People are dying from preventable diseases because our hospitals are not equipped. When you have a kidney problem, they don't take you to Ghana to do dialysis, you would die. But this man continued to enrich himself at the expense of Liberia and the poor Liberian people. And this is just not so fair. We're in the injury stopping time now, folks. I'm telling you, 2 goals to Henry Costa FC and nothing to George Weah against the Paradise. And that's it, folks. And that's how we come to the end of the game. But we want to quickly go to Liberia. I think our local correspondent is in Liberia. Mr. Habiba Clinton. Mr. Clinton, are you there?
I'm listening to you, Kingley.
Mr. Clinton, you are in Liberia, and this is about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And bring us up to speed. The Vice President of the Republic of Liberia is in the news. What is going on?
Oh, yeah. I listened to you when you were making some, clarity as it relates to instead of being a vice president from Liberia. And we all know very well that she's a lady that was elected, I guess, as the same as the president. But according to the statement made by her, she had been quiet over the time, and people begin to realize some of the bitterness that have been unfolding between she and her boss. That came at the wake of a 54th legislature returning to work on a Monday. And since then, she has not gone to work. She officially informed the House of Senate about the bitterness, that is, how she has been treated. She has not been treated, she has not been dignified as vice president. She's been denied some of her immunity. We get started with cars that she's supposed to be using, 2 armored vehicles and security vehicles. All of these things have not been given her over the time. It's like she's been using other powerful vehicles. And I read, she also stressed on that. What really got her deterred is about other areas, other officials of government, like the speaker, the president himself, and the president pro tem. You guys have not been, deprived of some of the areas that she talked about. And they were talking about budget harmonization. It did not affect the guys. And she has been one of those that always just been marginalized. So she began to come out with this concern, and questions coming from the various community has to do with how she told her boss, because she's playing a dual role. She's serving as a president, vice president for the Republic of Liberia. She attends executive meetings, and also she also played a role in the Senate. So before informing the Senate, there have been some concern emanating from various quarters of Monrovia that whether she have done this official letter that she did to send into the Senate. And that clarity had not really yet been made, but she has expressed serious bitterness as it relates to some of these things that if it is not addressed or are not addressed, she will not go back to work.
Well, it is also alleged now that she said that she has been home for the last 3 weeks. She has not been able to leave her home, and she has also not been able to attend the 3rd session of the 54th National Legislature this year. George Weah speaks to the nation, I believe, next week. Now, if these concerns are not addressed, I'm afraid she's not going to be in attendance.
Like I just put it, she said that she needs these things addressed before she can go back to work, because been something like it has not just been an abrupt thing since the inception of this government. She has been facing some, slap waves, and things have not really been easy for her. It has not been having amicably, resolution towards some of those things that have been left undone. And I think we'll be hearing several information emanating from the executive that there have been no good friendship between the both. Well, I have not really come to the extent as it is now. So she's saying that the Senate should look at this immediately and expeditiously. Some of those things need to be addressed before she goes to work. So if it is what she put in this banner, then it means that she will not be attending the State of the Nation address on Monday.
The voice of Mr. Habiba Clinton. He's our local correspondent for BridgeRadioAfrica.com. He's based out of Dupero, Liberia. We want to say a big thank you to you, Habiba, and we'll see you tomorrow night on the show.
Thank you, Ashford.
And folks, I'm afraid that's all the time I have to be with you. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow night from the 8 to later. And if this is your first time on the show, please follow us so that the next time we come, you will get that instant notification. A big thanks to those who travel from the United States of America, those who travel from Liberia to Freetown for this great soccer game between Henry Petro Cosas FC and George Manaware Gangsters Paradise. Well, let's say a big thank you to the two guys that scored the goal, the two powerful gentlemen that scored the goal, Mr. Henry Costa and Mr. Perfect Key. With that said, folks, and our many viewers tonight, want to say a big thank you to you. And like the wise man, please allow me to use the warnings of the wise man. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. The heart of a man is never known until he rises, and there's no second chance to make that first impression. And the Liberian will say, don't see okra and swallow bone, because you can't have your naked neck from bathing bucket. When God bless you, don't see that medicine. This has been yours truly. As for the giant, the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. That's why they call him the giant, and now you know me, Garley. Have a good night.
Oh, Jalma.